Lakers improved to 55-0 when leading after 3 quarters. Chuck's favorite stat: no team in NBA history has ever finished the regular season and postseason undefeated, having a lead after 3 quarters. I'm your host, Chris Miles of NBA Game Time Live at the Finals, presented by YouTube TV. You know our front court: Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale, and Chris Webber. So, Chuck, let's start with you. The Lakers able to pull this one out down the stretch. Anthony Davis with 4 blocks, 22 points, 9 rebounds, and defending Jimmy Butler. How impressive was AD?
Well, listen, Black Ernie Johnson, I just want to tell you, you've done a fantastic job the last couple nights. I've enjoyed working with you. Listen,
Thanks, Chuck.
to me, the guy who, and he started in the first quarters, was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He got off to a really good start. Neither AD, to me, had like 2 or 3 blocks. He blocked Hero's layup. Then he blocks Olynyk layup in the first half. You know, people see. Chris, one thing that people never think about, and Kevin and Chris know this, there's plays that happen in the first quarter and the first half that if something happened in the second half, people never talk about it. But Hero was going to the basket against AD one-on-one, and AD intimidated him. And then Olynyk had a layup. Those were the really big plays. But I thought that, hey, listen, AD was great. LeBron was really good and great. But I thought Caldwell-Pope, Danny Green, those guys chipped in just enough. Listen, let's be honest here. We knew the Lakers were going to win this series. Everybody who had any common sense about basketball knew it. Unless Jimmy Butler went crazy again, and he didn't go crazy again, and that's the only reason. So now we got to work one more day Friday, and then the Lakers going to win another championship.
You know, Chuck, you pointed out KCP. Here's another crazy stat about him. The Lakers 12-1 this postseason when he scores 10 or more. He had 10 in the first quarter, just 3-3 when he doesn't get 10 or more. So, Chris, when you hear that stat and you think about whether you want to call it, as Chuck says, just another guy, or the others like Shaq, these role players when you get to this point of the postseason?
Well, I agree with Chuck. I mean, Caldwell-Pope was the key to this game, in my opinion. He kept them in early, which means LeBron didn't try to have to force it early. He hit threes, and that late layup at the end of the game, I think that's the one right there when he gets inside and he lays it up. You need veterans like that to make plays. Yeah, Rondo came and did his thing. Caruso did his thing, but it was Caldwell-Pope, to me, that did his thing, and then AD defensively, because you really think about it, no one on the Lakers team could check Butler. I mean, he big boyed Dwight Howard early in the game, got a layup. Big boyed Morris and got a layup early. And so AD on the defensive end, even just going under the screens and trying to force Butler to shoot it, I thought was a great adjustment as well.
I mean, that's a great point, C. Webb, because Jimmy Butler 5 for 5 in the first quarter. AD takes on that assignment, and then Jimmy was 0 for 3 in the next 2 quarters with just 4 points. So, Kevin, just thinking about that as a big trying to get out on the perimeter and guard someone like Jimmy Butler, who's coming off of a 40-point game, I mean, that was just incredible by Anthony Davis.
Yeah, AD did a great job. He did what big guys should do. When you got spaced out on a guard, especially because Jimmy doesn't want to shoot the three, he's going to shoot it off the dribble. You got to get him to get the ball on the floor. After he gets the ball on the floor, you can use your length to go up and contest because he's got to gather the ball and shoot. And AD does a great job of staying in front of people, moving his feet, and his length really comes into play late when he gets that hand up. So he did a great job on Jimmy Butler. But one thing I'll tell you, I thought Miami played hard. They played really good defense. LeBron got it going there for a while, downhill, making plays, made a couple big threes. But when you watch Miami play, they don't have a guy you can give it to, say, here, this is the ball, you're at your spot, and now go get us a hoop. And the defense knows that's his spot. They have to double team him there. They don't have that. They have so much movement. You know, they sometimes have to have 5 and 6 different actions to get a decent shot in one possession. And I think all good championship teams have that guy that you can give the ball to at his spot on the floor, whether it was Michael Jordan in the elbow or the mid post, or Kareem on the right box, or Chuck back on the Chuck liked on the left box, so you pass out of there. Everybody had players they could go to. Miami doesn't have that. They've got to generate offense with so much motion.
Eastern Conference Finals, and he will return to the lineup. Welcome to Game Time Live at the Finals, presented by YouTube TV. I'm your host, Chris Miles. Lakers up 2-1 in this series, despite losing Game 3 to the Miami Heat. And since we're talking about big men, let's bring in some of the best power forwards to ever play the game. Charles Barkley, Kevin McHale, Chris Webber, and our big guard, Steve Smith. So let's get right down to business and start with Bam Adebayo. Chuck, what kind of impact do you expect him to have in his return for Miami?
Well, listen, he's a hell of a player. He's an all-star. Anytime you get an all-star back, it's going to make your team better. But, you know, listen, the last game was all about Jimmy Butler, but now he's got some reinforcement. I'm really excited about the game tonight. You know, I never care who's going to win these games, but I would love to see Miami win so to make it a series. And that's my only goal for tonight. I would love to see the Heat win because I want to see a really good series.
Well, see, Webb, when I look deep into the stats and try to figure out, okay, where can Miami best have Bam have a big impact on the offensive boards? They have a total of just 14 offensive rebounds in those first 3 games. Do you think Bam can come in and make an immediate impact there?
Yeah, you just hope that his neck is okay because you have a lot of reaching over the head and trying to box out and things like that. But, yeah, if he can get offensive rebounds, but maybe even more importantly, if he could secure some defensive rebounds so that the Lakers, with their size and length, don't get extra possessions through their offensive rebound.
Kevin, you famously played through a broken foot in the 1987 finals, but you also had plantar fasciitis, the same injury that Goran Dragic is dealing with right now. Describe the difference between a broken foot and having an injury to the plantar, and do you think he can actually play through this and come back in these finals?
The difference is a hell of a lot of pain, then a hell of a lot of pain between those injuries. They both hurt. You know, having the plantar fasciitis was one of the most painful injuries I had. The bottom of your foot just is on fire, and it's really, really hard to get any lift and do anything too quickly. So, you know, I look at Goran, who plays almost exclusively on quickness, and just wonder if he can be effective out there. And the plantar fasciitis just doesn't go away. Here's when he does it, and you can see, watch, he looks down at his foot. He thought he stepped on something. And that's exactly what happens. It kind of pops. And watch, he'll look down. Now, he looked at his foot like, damn, I did the same thing when I did mine. I looked down, I thought I stepped on something. So I thought I'd stepped on something. I looked down and went, what the hell? And it's really painful. I hope Goran can play. I'm like Chuck. I want to see a really good series, and I love the heart that Miami has. They just come out, they give it to you all, and they're going to need to play great because I have a feeling the Lakers are going to come out on fire tonight.
Smitty, you talking about a team showing a lot of heart. I mean, we all kind of looked at this series and thought that the Lakers were dominating.